Cheers to that gem.
Yeah. This one up here, I don't know if you can tell because it's far away. What did we watch, Rach?
We watched my childhood favorite, Return to Oz.
Return to Oz. So, Rach and George episode, whatever we're on, fucked up childhood classic.
Yes.
Return to Oz.
Cheers.
Cheers.
What a great flick.
Yeah.
I don't know how that never scared me as a kid, I guess.
Yeah, you talk about it for a minute.
I just loved it. I guess notoriously it's known for really scary themes, and it is. Like, you watch it again as an adult. I did that for the first time when I was like 22, and I was like, what the fuck? I immediately called my mom, like, why did you ever show this to me when I was a child? Because I remember watching it and I was like, I don't know, 7?
Yeah.
Super young. We had a VHS copy of it. She would like always copy movies off the TV,
Right
and then
on.
like she would handwrite them.
Yeah,
all.
I had a bunch of tapes like that too.
Yeah, so that was like my favorite.
We even had drawers that like you pull it out and had tapes inside.
Yeah.
And I remember we had a bunch of them, and one, like 2 whole drawers were full of just the Next Generation, Star Trek The Next Generation.
Oh.
So it was Star Trek TNG 1, 2, 3, 4. My parents fucking loved that show.
Oh, cool.
So my memory of this movie, I haven't seen it since I was a young kid. I don't know how old I was. Roughly 20 years or so is my guess. Watching it this time, there's a bunch of stuff I didn't remember. I think I might have bailed when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Understandable. For those of you who have not seen Return to Oz, it's fucked up. 80s gem.
In an amazing way.
And I mean, you said thematically, like, what were the themes of that movie?
The theme, I think the biggest theme was going back to a place and seeing that it's broken.
Oh, good call.
Thank you. And
I was just being like, what? What? To like think about anything deep, but yeah, totally.
It starts off with Dorothy not being able to sleep because she's just consumed by this idea of Oz, you know, because it picks up from where
it's like 3 months after the tornado from the original.
So she like had this amazing time. I mean, I guess not amazing, but it's like a magical place, right?
Mm-hmm, sure.
And she goes back and it's totally broken and fucked up. I was thinking actually this might be the very first original post-apocalyptic movie.
Original?
For like, you know, that started the whole, it's like a hipster post-apocalyptic movie.
Maybe. I mean, in my head, I'm like, The Road Warrior happened before this.
For kids, for like teens.
For kids. Okay, maybe. I mean, I don't know. There's probably some B movies from the 50s.
Yeah.
Like, in my mind, the prototypical post-apocalyptic movie is the Twilight Zone episode, Time Enough at Last. I'm sure you know The Thing. It's one of the more cliche. If you haven't seen Time Enough at Last, it's on Netflix. All the Twilight Zone are. Go watch them. That's the episode where there's a bank teller, and he's got these glasses, and he's a nebbish, and like he hates people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's by the actor who played Mickey in the Rocky movies and the Penguin in the original Batman series. That guy. And he just hates his job, and he hates people, and all he wants to do is read his books, but his boss is like, stop reading, help the people.
Hey, it sounds like your old job.
Yeah. So at one point, he has to go into the bank vault to get something, and the door closes, and while he's in there, a nuclear bomb goes off, or something happens. And when he comes out, everybody's gone. And it's these really creepy shots of him walking around through the city, and there's no body, it's just like he's alone. And he's like, hello? Anybody there? And he's really like, everyone I know is dead. But then he wanders to the library. And you see him like, books. So he goes inside, and he's like, oh my god, there's finally time. And he starts grabbing all these books that he wants to read. And then he's got his stack of books, he's like, alright, I got it. He bends over, and his glasses fall and shatter.
Oh no.
And he goes, it's not fair.
Oh.
That there was finally time.
Oh my god.
Anyway, so yeah, totally, it's definitely The Wizard of Oz done post-apocalyptic style. Also, like, if you remember in The Wizard of Oz, which I'm sure you've seen, yes?
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, I haven't seen Ghostbusters, I don't know. Now you have, one of them. In the original, Dorothy goes to Oz because there's a tornado, but like, she gets hit on the head by like a pane of glass. That's how she, like, if you're gonna believe it's all a dream. In this one, they take her, because she's having trouble sleeping, they take her to get electroshock treatments in this creepy fucking hospital with these creepy fucking people.
Yeah.
And they tie her to a gurney.
Yeah,
and
you can hear people screaming in the background.
They put these things on her, like they look like, 1980s headphones.
Yeah.
And they're just like on her. And then right as they're about to flick the switch, the power goes out. We find out later lightning the building. And I thought that was how she went. Like, oh no, Dorothy's gone. They electroshocked her into nothingness.
No, they were just trying to get rid of all of her. They thought she was crazy, right?
Yeah. So anyway, that's not what happens, I guess. She ends up in a river and...
Yeah, well, there's this girl who comes to rescue her, another patient, I guess, of the hospital, and they're like, oh my gosh, they're like, she understands what's happening, and so she gets both of them out of there. The woman, the crazy woman, starts chasing them, and... So
they run, like, a huge storm starts.
They thought it would be better to jump into a raging river and risk drowning than go back to that place.
Yeah.
So they're both in the river. Dorothy finds this like huge wooden
What's it, a crate cage or
a
cradle?
She like breaks it open, she crawls inside, and she just passes out on there. I don't know whatever happened to her friend, like...
She went back in the mirror.
Spoilers!
Yeah.
But then she wakes up, and then she's in Oz all of a sudden.
Yeah. And it's like, first of all, watching it as an adult, it's really slow, which I like. I like kids' movies to take their time, and it's not always like, fart joke this and colorful that. It just kind of lets things happen. As a grown-up who is tired, I was like, was losing me a bit, but despite myself, I was mad. I was like, come on, wake up, awesome things are happening.
Oh, I felt like it went really more quickly than I remember it happening as a kid.
Yeah, I mean...
I guess because I already know my favorite parts, so like, can we get to that already?
And I was lost, like, instead of Toto, she gets a talking chicken.
Yeah.
Which I completely forgot about.
Bellina. Bellina the hen.
Bellina the hen.
And that's how she knows. Did you notice how excited Dorothy was when she realized she's like... Maybe we are in Oz.
Yeah, holy shit, you can talk.
She was so excited. She's like, oh wait, I have a talking chicken, and this must be the Deadly Desert, which you don't get to see in the original Oz, which is why I like this one so much, because I read those books when I was a kid, too.
And then they find the Yellow Brick Road. Well, they find the house from the first one, and the fucked up ruins of the Yellow Brick Road.
Right. Well, she was like so nostalgic. She's like, there's my house. Like, there's my room. She's like, but where are all of the munchkins?
And the chicken's like, what?
Yeah, I know. And then, she freaks out when she sees that the Yellow Brick Road is
which
all
has, like, been bulldozed
broken
and fucked up. And then they go to the Emerald City, and it's also all fucked up, and there's no more green. And all the people have been turned to stone, including the lion and the Tin Man. Mm-hmm. And then the Wheelers show up, which, that I do remember.
Yeah?
Of course. I can't describe the Wheelers to you. If you haven't seen the movie, anyone who knows what we're talking about, the Wheelers are probably nightmare fodder.
Each of their hands and their feet are wheels instead, and so they roll around on all fours.
And they have these masks up on the top of their
so like when they're
head
down like this, and they're like, they cackle crazily, and like it's really creepy.
So that was total nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
I do remember when they introduced TikTok, who's like the robot for this movie. As a kid, I remember being like, wait, is it the Tin? They confused me because it's not the Tin Man, but it is.
Right.
Then, I mean, a bunch of other stuff happens. The part where I stopped watching, I think, as a kid, we encountered the new bad guy, or one of them in this movie. And she's this woman, and she's got this room, like this long hall, full of heads. And it's not done in this obvious way. Like, you just walk around the room in the background, you see heads, and you think, oh, maybe they're mannequins. But then you start to notice that they're moving. Like, they really got actors to stick their heads in the wall.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's fucking creepy.
Yeah.
And then she takes her head off and replaces it. So it's like, these are all of her...
She wanted to put on something more appropriate.
Yeah, so these are all of her heads. And I remember that as gonna be like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, where's the songs? Like, what is this?
Yeah.
Then more plot things happen. We meet another character who is sort of like similar to a scarecrow.
Oh yeah, but it's Jack.
Which also confused me as a kid. I was like, it's the scarecrow, but not. He's got a pumpkin head and, you know, he's made of sticks. So then they're going to hatch a plan to steal some stuff and do some things, and Dorothy has to go into the sleeping crazy lady's chamber to get this key to unlock a door, and all the heads are asleep, and it's so fucking creepy. She's walking down this hallway and the music's going, and then she opens the door and goes to grab a thing, and she knocks something else over, which makes the smallest sound, and the head that's in there opens its fucking eyes, and she's like, Dorothy Gale!
No, it's more like... Dorothy Gale!
Then it cuts outside, and all the other heads fucking snap awake.
Yeah, they're all screaming.
I think at age, I think at age 7 or whatever, I was like, goodbye! And I think I was done. But I remember the king, too, and I remember then, like, this is green.
So, yeah.
So I must have revisited at some point, but, like, that whole middle section...
Oh, it's terrifying.
It went off my... That's terrifying, and once they get there is good. Like, once they're actually down in the cave. The whole middle part where they're flying... on this couch moose thing.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
Like, I remember Dorothy in that room choosing things. It's very Last Crusade. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
That's what it always reminds me of. I think even as a kid, I think I'd already seen Last Crusade, which is fucked up that I saw Last Crusade. But anyway, the big thing we should talk about is Fairuza Balk is a genius. What a great performance.
Seriously.
It's her first... Fairuza Balk is the chick from The Craft. She was in Almost Famous. You know her. If you've ever seen a 90s movie with, like, a goth chick, it was probably Fairuza Balk.
You know what else she was in? The Waterboy.
Oh, yeah! Fuck yeah! Vicky Valancourt.
I thought of that while we were watching.
Vicky Valancourt. Yes. So she's awesome, and this is her first movie. She's maybe 10, and
No.
she looks young as hell.
I want to say like 12. I think she has a really young face.
And she's playing a very young character, I guess.
Yeah.
But anyway, so she's the main character, and the first 20 minutes or so, she has other actors, you know, her aunt and uncle and the doctors and the little girl. Once she gets to Oz, it's just her interacting with puppets and chickens.
Yeah.
And she is never boring. Like, she is consistently good throughout. And there's a moment near the end where the TikTok guy thinks he knows, like, everyone gets 3 wishes or 3 chances to pick a thing to save the scarecrow, and he knows he's only got 1 pick left. And he's like, I guess I'm not as smart as I used to be because I don't know what to pick. And then he starts to cry. Yeah. And she gives him a hug. I was like, all right, that got me. Yeah. That's pretty sweet. Yeah. So the TikTok man's thing is that he's got 3 winders on him, which honestly, it's an excellent, I caught that. It's an excellent little piece of like social commentary on how humans work. Yeah. To make the TikTok man work, you have to wind up, well, you can wind up 1 winder, and that is his thinking. So he won't be able to move or talk, but he can think. Or you can wind up his talker, so he can speak, but if you don't wind up anything else, he can just talk and sound stupid. And you can wind him up to make him move. And later on, in the middle of like an action scene where they're trying to do a plot, he starts talking gibberish. Yeah. Like chickens and beds and blah. Yeah. And then Jack is like, something's wrong with TikTok. He started talking gibberish, and he's like, oh, his thinker wound down. He can't think. And somebody goes, if he can't think, then how is he still talking? And she's like, happens all the time. Yeah. Yeah. People do that a lot.
He mentioned earlier, too, where they were like, I feel bad for you, TikTok. Wouldn't you want to be alive? And he's like, no, I would never wish that on anyone.
Yeah, I'm proud of my non-aliveness.
Yeah, something like that.
He likes being, not alive. Yeah. Then, I don't know if, like, the moose thing would be creepy to kids nowadays.
The Gump? I think it's more cute.
It is. But it's not, it doesn't have a cutesy design.
But it's like that magical theme of Oz, right? Yeah. Where it's like, I'm going to spray some powder of life on you and say, weog, teog, peog. And I haven't seen it that many times. And you're going to magically come to life. And so as a kid, you're like, oh my God, they're going to get out of here. They built this thing and like...
There you go, and it flies. And you literally went, yay.
Literally. No, because he's like, I don't know if I can do this. And so like they're crashing down.
And she's like, fly! Fly!
And and I'm like, yes!
Yeah.
They're saved.
So the Gump, just describing it is so not a child-friendly idea. The Gump is, they take a bunch of inanimate objects and like lace it together with rope. And what it is the head of a moose, which I guess that's what the Gump was. The head of a Gump, then it's got antlers. So it's mounted on the wall. They take that down and they tie it to a couch. It's 2 couches tied together. They like duct tape some palm fronds on the side, and in the back they give him a broom. And then they spray shit on him, and he comes to life. And honestly, my first thought was I was hoping I knew he wouldn't because it's, he was one of the main characters. But when he comes to life, I thought his first line of dialogue should have been like, oh God, what am I? Kill me! Kill him, I'm an abomination!
No. That would be too goofy for this movie.
Yeah, it's a very serious...
All of the dialogue is.
Yeah. Other creepy shit, there's the Rock King, who's the Gnome King.
The Gnome King, that's super creepy. Well, all along, like, as Dorothy made her way into Oz, anytime there's a rock, there's like an eye there watching her.
It's all stop motion. It's really creepy.
And it would like report back to the Gnome King.
Yeah, because he's the king of rocks, I guess, or king of the mountain. King of whatever. And his whole thing is that every time he turns another Oz resident into a trinket, because it's like a room full of trinkets, he gets a little bit more human. And I'd forgotten about that part, I guess. Yeah. So they're doing it, and they're like, you each get a chance to guess 3 times which item is the scarecrow. If you guess wrong, then something will happen. Yeah. So one of them leaves the room, and then we hear, like, rumble, rumble, rumble. And it's a close-up on the Rock King, or the Gnome King, who at this point has been completely stop-motion claymation. And he opens his eyes, and they're human eyes. And I was like, holy shit!
Yeah, it's like a person sitting covered in, like, clay, basically.
With his face stuck in the wall, and he slowly gets more and more human. Yeah. And then as Dorothy figures it out, all the items that are green, those are the Oz people. Yeah. He starts to kind of devolve back into a rock, and that was creepy. Yeah. And then there's the part that I guess as a kid I would have swallowed, but as an adult I'm like, what?
The egg?
Egg is poison.
We knew all along that they were like, and
chickens.
She has a chicken!
A chicken!
So,
get rid of that chicken!
Like, it's common knowledge with these people of Oz, because these are not really
the chickens of the Gnome King band, the Gnome King band chickens.
So at some point, Belina the chicken
And her plot is that she can't lay an egg. That was set up in the very first scene.
Absolutely.
Even in the real world, Dorothy's like, Belina, if you don't lay an egg, Mom's gonna cut you up into soup or something.
Yeah, so she's inside Jack's head with like the lid on it.
Jack is a jack-o'-lantern, by the way.
And you can see her little beak
poking out through the eyes. It's also fucking creepy.
So we know she's there. And then when the Gnome King is about to eat Jack, of course they grab him upside down. The lid pops off, and then you hear Belina go, "Oops, uh-oh!" Like I just had an accident.
And this egg slowly rolls out and falls down the Gnome King's mouth, and all of his little like creatures are like poison.
That's cool.
Poison.
They all turn inside out. It's so cool.
I love stop motion. It's awesome. I love it. I love stop motion in live action films.
Yeah.
That's the thing they did a lot back in the 80s. I'm trying to think. Batman had a little bit of that. Tim Burton movies had a shitload of stop motion.
No idea.
Well, he did.
I believe you.
Anyway, I like that. Anyway, then, Gnome King dies and clickety-click heals and...
Well, yeah, so
no
she had
like
to...
home.
What we found out while... that's a long sequence is when all of the people are going into the thing to, like, do the selecting.
It's very much the end of Star Wars. Like, the music's playing, the robot guy who's been dirty the whole movie is now glistening clean.
No, I'm not there yet.
Oh, not that part?
Not there yet.
Not when... Oh, when they're all going into the room.
So there's Dorothy.
It's a long dialogue.
There's Dorothy and the Gnome King sitting there. That's when we find out what's happened to everyone, basically. And the creepiest part to me there is when he's like, what is she? No, he goes, "Why are you here?" And she's like, "I'm here to save the Scarecrow." "Are you sure you didn't come for these?"
That's right.
You see the fucking ruby slippers?
The Rock King is wearing ruby slippers. It's a little weird.
So anyway, she had to grab those before the place collapsed.
Yes.
Because that's how they get out of there.
Because she wishes herself back to... I wish we were back, and I wish everything was back. So everything was back. And then there's the Star Wars sequence where they're walking into the Emerald City, and people have been cleaned up.
Yes.
And the chick with the heads has been captured, and her magic's been taken away. Mm-hmm. And Dorothy says, like... "Oh, I have to go home. Like, I'm sorry, but I have to go back." And they're like, "No, you have to stay." And she's like, "Oh, I wish that I could stay here and go back." And then the chick in the mirror finally is like, "Hello, I'm the chick in the mirror."
Yeah.
And Dorothy saves her, and that's the true Queen of Oz. Mm-hmm. And then then she goes back and she wakes up on a riverbed. Very fucking creepy, too. Just dead-eyed, like, bye. Goodbye. I'll miss you. Goodbye.
I almost cried though when Toto, she goes, "Toto!" because she could like hear the barking.
Toto
And then Uncle Henry,
yes,
I think is his name, is like, "Oh my God," he like throws his cane away because obviously his leg is fine and like picks her up. I almost cried there.
Yeah.
That was such a sweet reunion.
And then they find out that, the hospital was struck by lightning and burned down, and everybody was rescued except for the doctor, who was trying to save his machines. Which I guess maybe the doctor is supposed to be the Gnome King.
Absolutely.
Analogous.
Yeah.
Probably the same actor, too.
I could tell you all of the analogies.
Well, then explain this one to me.
Okay.
Creepy no-head lady is the same actress who plays, like, the nurse in the shock treatment place. Uh-huh. Which is fine. I'm cool with that. And at the end of the Oz portion of the movie, she's being carted off in a cage. At the end of the real world portion of the movie, she's being carted off in like a police wagon. Yeah. What was that about?
Well, I heard you say something about that while the movie was running. I said
it was like, what's this about?
I was trying to think of why. I wonder, do you think like...
Did she start the fire?
Maybe, no. They advertised it as one thing, but then maybe they found out all of the fucked up things that they're doing to these people.
People were screaming in there.
Like, that's not supposed to be what was happening, or maybe like holding them captive.
Oh, maybe that line, everyone was rescued, is got a double meaning.
Maybe.
Rescued from the fire and from their tortured prison cells where people were being electrocuted.
Maybe it was something like that. I don't know.
And then, she goes home and...
Because I'm sure if, like, Aunt Em knew what was happening, she wouldn't let Dorothy have stayed there.
Which, sidebar for all you cineast film fans out there, Auntie Em in this movie is played by Piper Laurie, primarily known as the mother from Carrie.
Okay.
When it's like, they're all gonna laugh at you! Your dirty pillows! Genius actress.
Did we ever figure out what year this came out?
No, I didn't look it up before recording it because it was too hot and I forgot to do that.
Yeah.
It's got, all that stop motion and shit, it's an 80s movie for sure.
No, I think it's 91.
Alright, talk amongst yourselves about the movie. I'm gonna get my phone.
I don't have anything else to say.
Well, okay. We watched The Labyrinth together, and when I was watching this, I felt a lot of similarities to The Labyrinth, particularly at the end where she's back in her room. What were your feelings on The Labyrinth?
Oh, geez, I don't even remember. I could try to tell you the plot of The Labyrinth right now. That would be hilarious. There's this cool woman, girl named Sarah, and Oh, she seemed really annoying at the beginning because she just seems. Oh, she has that annoying little brother that won't stop crying, and then bam, David Bowie walks in. Right?
Close enough.
He's the Goblin King, and let's see here. I don't know how she ends up in that world. I think the world just kind of transformed.
She wishes that the goblins would come and take her brother away.
Oh, right.
So he does.
Oh, right.
And then she's like, no, I want him back. Remember, he's got the fucking...
God, she's so stupid.
Remember, he's got, like, the crystals in his hands?
Yeah. Well, she's so stupid. Even at the beginning, she's, like, out in the, like, the park playing, like, reciting. She's some actress drama queen. So, like, immediately... Of course she wouldn't like her brother, and then, of course, she would make a wish like that. I don't know. So then she has to, like, go through these crazy things, and yeah, the claymation was really cool in that movie too. There's a lot of puppets and stuff in that one too, right?
Yeah, well, it's a Jim Henson movie.
And then there's this one scene where they're all singing, and David Bowie has the Babe.
You remind me of the Babe.
You remind me of the Babe.
Babe
And
with
they
the power.
literally, like, throw this baby all over the place. The baby was having a great time.
Yeah, well, it was dancing and stuff.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a goblin. Anyway, 1985.
Aw, man.
Yeah, so right in the middle of the 80s. Yeah, come on.
I guess my memory starts at, like, 1992.
I mean, maybe that's when you saw it, but
Maybe.
it's so, like... Think about the effects. Like, okay, put it to you this way. Jurassic Park came out in 1993.
Oh, geez, okay.
Yeah.
I get you. I get you.
Not to say that Return to Oz would have been better with CGI. In fact, it would have been way, way worse with CGI.
No, I hope no one ever, like, tries to recreate this movie.
This movie, no,
Wizard. Like, remember the last Wizard of Oz reboot with James Franco and Mila Kunis?
Which I didn't see. They were close to the book, though. They brought in the China doll town.
Yeah, that one was cool.
I didn't see the movie, but I know they brought that into it.
Yeah, I do like that part. But
which, I don't know, for me, the whole notion of, we're not talking about, but the whole notion of Sam Raimi directing a Wizard of Oz movie bothered me, but okay, he's a visionary director. Then I knew it was like this whole green screen thing, and I was like, fuck! When you think of the Wizard of Oz, the first thing you think of are those amazing sets.
Yeah.
And all the detail. And then, if you're cool enough to know Return to Oz, you think about how fucked up it is.
Yeah.
But again, real sets and makeup and costumes. The Wheelers are just like stunt people on wheels. Like,
Yeah.
it's impressive, like, work. And then Return to Oz is like a big old cartoon.
which one?
Not Return to Oz, Oz the Great and Powerful.
Oh, that's what it's
Just
called?
a big old cartoon.
Yeah, I don't like it.
But, so, it's 1985. As far as 80s kids movies go, this one isn't one of my favorites. I've always loved it in my head, but, like, I hadn't rewatched it. For me, 80s kids movies that are fucked up, I'm like Land Before Time. I was a big Don Bluth kid.
Never saw it.
Land Before Time is fucking heartbreaking. An American Tail, fucking heartbreaking.
That one's good.
There was a couple of Disney movies I like Oliver and Company has one of the saddest opening scenes ever.
I don't remember that one.
It's, what's his
I remember
name?
some dancing on cars.
Who's the guy for The Power of Love?
Oh, Huey Lewis and
Huey
the
Lewis
News.
the News sings a song about once upon a time in New York City, and you see a box of kittens. And they're all meow, meow, meow. And Oliver's in there, and people keep coming to take cats home.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't get chosen. And then it starts to rain, and the box starts to fill with water.
Aw.
And he's like, meow!
That's
And
so
then the box
sad.
bursts, and he goes flying down the street,
Uh-huh.
and almost goes in the gutter. Like, that's the first 3 minutes of Oliver and Company.
Oh, I have a movie on VHS, but I guess I haven't seen it in a
Also, at
long
the end of
time.
Oliver and Company, the bad guy gets hit by a subway train and gets blown up.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Cool.
So this is definitely, like, if you think of 80s movies, particularly 80s kids movies being pretty fucked up, like fucking The Goonies, holy shit.
I love that movie.
Me too, but
What's
it's...
fucked up about
They
it?
were gonna put the kid's hand in a blender!
They were? Oh, yeah.
Yeah!
I guess, I don't know.
There's a guy with, like, one eye and shit.
Maybe that's why I'm so paranoid now, because I've, like, seen so many...
Fratellis!
Yeah, like, bad kids movies. Like, scary bad.
Gremlins, fucking amazing kids
Yeah, I
movie.
like that one.
Really fucked up. A lot of
I haven't
Spielberg
seen that in a
stuff.
long time.
Temple of Doom, not for kids, but like...
Oh yeah! Oh my
Oh,
god!
shit.
The heart thing. I tell my students about that almost every year. At some point it comes up.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Biology.
It still freaks me out.
I always remember, like, for the longest time when I was a kid, I would track how mature I was getting by which scenes I didn't have to cover my eyes for. And I remember it vividly. The first, like, you know, all the Indiana Jones movies, the first 3 anyway, end with a really fucked up thing happening that's really not good for kids. Make her stop chewing on herself.
Stop! Come here.
So the first one I was able to watch without covering my eyes was at the end of Last Crusade. The dude drinks from the wrong cup and he gets really old, really fast, and he like turns to dust. He's That's the last one I watched. That was the first one I watched. Second one I was able to watch with my eyes open was the Nazis' heads exploding. Like the fucker melts and...
Ugh.
The one I kept my eyes closed with the longest was the heart getting ripped out. It's so creepy.
Yeah.
And like he's still alive.
I know.
They lower him into the thing, and when the guy's body bursts into flame, the heart in his hand, like, ugh.
I know. It's hard for me to watch even now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's got a really obnoxious female character in it.
On a more lighthearted note,
yes.
When I was a kid, I would put, which one was it? The Last Crusade, I believe.
Okay.
I'd put that one on
Sean Connery?
VHS.
That's Last Crusade.
I think so.
Okay.
Does it start with Young Indy?
Yes.
Okay, so
River Phoenix.
That was River Phoenix?
Yeah.
So I would go through my VHS cabinet when I was a kid, and I would watch this like every weekend, just the first 15 minutes.
It's got a great score too.
I loved Young Indy. I'm like, oh, they're exploring some cave. There's like a badass train fight.
Also, he's got the hair in the eyes.
There's a lion.
He's got the hair in the eyes.
Oh, I know. I've been boy crazy my whole life, but
we figured it out once. I tracked it back. It's all about. See, on this movie. This movie's fucked up. But no, me and Rach, we didn't track it back. I asked her, I was like, is this where it started? And you fucking freaked out.
Which one was it?
Sam from Course Explains It All.
Oh, yeah. That
Right?
was a young one.
That was
also,
the guy.
Zach Morris from Saved by the Bell.
I guess.
That was also a young one. I remember that. Because I got in trouble for going to my neighbor's house when I was like 6 years old for watching Saved by the Bell.
Why? She
My
takes caffeine pills, and it's bad.
parents
Have you seen that episode?
Yeah.
I'm a maniac.
I know. My parents were just so strict.
I'm so excited.
I guess I didn't tell them. I guess I kind of snuck out.
Anyway, we're really off topic at this point, but like that movie for me is such a touchstone to like that time.
Yeah.
And it's weird. It's a weird time capsule because I found that most of the movies I loved as a kid that I revisit, most of them hold up pretty well.
Yeah.
One of the rare ones that didn't was Three Ninjas, the first one.
Oh, don't tell me.
For
that.
me, didn't hold up. Now, granted, as a kid, I had a Japanese grandmother. I fell in love with Jackie Chan. I loved Ninja Turtles. So I loved those movies. And as I got older, I know what real kung fu movies look like.
Yeah.
Really good action. So my problem with that movie is like, wow, they're not even trying to make it look real. That probably wouldn't bother you at all.
Probably not. Mine's more nostalgia anyway.
And that movie is it's half Home Alone, half Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
But most of them tend to hold up. Having not seen this movie in a while, Return to Oz. Even before we had our show, Rachel and I have been talking about it for a while. We're like, we need to do this someday, and blah, blah, blah.
Found it at the store the other day.
So I was like, oh, sold. We're doing that. And it does hold up. It's a little slow, but that's not a bad thing. I'm just tired.
Yeah.
And I like that it takes its time. I like kids' movies. Movies in general, I think, that take their time.
Yeah.
And aren't just like full of patronizing dialogue.
And it's good dialogue. It's not just all like gimmicks and stuff, like you said, like fart jokes.
Yeah. And like they don't have to over-explain. Like when they're strapping her in the fucking bed in the beginning and they're putting the electrodes on her, they don't explain like this is electroshock therapy. It's gonna make you better. They just say like this is good.
Yeah.
Electricity is a good thing.
All of those nightmares will go away.
Yeah.
But no, she even like sits down on the gurney thing.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I'd like to sit if I can. She's like, what did your mother tell you?
To do whatever you told me to.
Why do you gotta put these buckles on me? Like.
So you won't fall out. I took a carriage ride all the way here. I didn't fall out.
I love that girl.
Yeah. Dorothy's pretty cool.
Yeah. This Dorothy.
I mean, come on.
The old Dorothy, I think of like, oh, Mom. I'm like.
I guess we can end on that one, which is when I did rewatch the original Wizard of Oz, which I saw a zillion times as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it in the theater at the Paramount. Here in Austin, there's a movie theater called the Paramount. And every summer they do a classic film series where they'll show older movies. I think the most recent film they've ever shown during that thing is Big Lebowski, which is like 97, 98. But generally it's all the way back to like Gone with the Wind and then
forward.
Older and older and older movies. I did get to see
the Casablanca there.
There you go. I did get to see The Wizard of Oz on the big screen. And as an adult, the first 30 minutes of that movie, or maybe even less, before she gets to Oz, the black and white part, that was my favorite part.
Yeah.
It's really compelling when she sings that song.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You're right. She really just wanted to get away. I don't know.
And then when she gets to Colorland, it's like, well, this is cool, but like, I remember something's going on. By the time they get to the Cowardly Lion, I was like, fuck me.
No, I know.
Let's wrap this shit up, guys.
I hardly even remember most of the colored part, like past the Scarecrow.
Mm-hmm.
Tin Man I remember because she has to like oil all of them, which is not accurate.
Okay.
But
yeah, okay. If you want to, they do. I'll give it that much. Right away in this movie, they say, "Fuck the original. We're going to the books."
Yeah.
She's explaining to somebody, her mother, the doctor. She's explaining to the doctor who's going to shock her.
The Tin Man.
What the Tin Man is. So in the original movie, the Tin Man was already a Tin Man, and
But yeah.
Hello again. Whoop. Hello again. The camera got overheated because Texas in July. So we're going to wrap it up real quick before it shuts off again. Rachel, what were your thoughts as a kid? What are your thoughts now?
It's a great adventure film, especially for a young, bright, driven young girl like me. So I really identify with that and problem solving to get out of things.
Do you like Madeline too? Not Madeline, Madeline.
I actually never saw that.
Oh, that's happening soon.
Okay.
You're going to love that movie.
I always identified with that stuff. And I was just thinking, this is not your average kids movie. Like, this would never get played anywhere now. And Disney made this, and you said that.
Yeah, Disney.
Very loudly.
For kids. Like, Disney made this fucking movie.
And I mean, they did just
during the electroshock sequence, I was like, Disney did
But
this.
I mean, they did just make Zootopia, which I guess is more a subtle way, but this is so
also, again,
in your face, scary.
Yeah, and Disney used to have a harder edge. Like, if you haven't seen it, Something Wicked This Way Comes, fucking incredibly creepy Disney movie.
But like, I just think now about like all of the kids who are like, who have emotional problems, like teenagers. They now, like, this is a thing in universities where you have to be so, like, you have
PC and protective.
You have to warn everyone, like, this might cause emotional trauma and stuff like that. So this is definitely not a movie for 2016, but still a great film.
My take on it as a kid was, I think I turned it off because I was scared, which used to happen a lot. The Beetlejuice cartoon used to freak me out to the point where I couldn't even listen to the theme song. So, or Pee-wee's Playhouse, Tape Face. That freaks me out, where he puts tape around his face and makes it weird. Or Captain Carl. Anyway, as an adult, just as a filmmaker, I'm like, God damn it, look at those sets. Look at those. I mean, some of the puppetry work is a little cheesy, but they make jokes about, like, the Tin Man TikTok guy. He doesn't work very well, and it's probably because the puppet didn't work very well, but they just make that a part of the character. That he's really smart and capable, but, like, he just can't fucking function. So, the puppetry is amazing. The stop motion's amazing. The imagery is fucking unforgettable. Eggs are poison. Eggs are poison, I guess.
I've been going off about the score all day.
The score is pretty good.
I love the music. It makes it so much. It gives the whole
atmosphere.
Yeah, thanks.
So yeah, excellent movie. Walter Murch directed it, and I can't remember what else he did, but not a kids director unless he also directed another fucked up kids movie. So I think he directed westerns actually. So, like, really awesome 80s
It
westerns.
does end on a positive note.
Yeah, it ends on a very, she's home and everything's fine. Also, her secret world, which Labyrinth has the same ending, where it's like, the ending of Labyrinth, that she's back in her bedroom, and in the mirror, again, her friends are like, if you ever need us, and they fade out, another friend pops up, yeah, should you need us? And then they all dance around to Magic Dance, because David Bowie. So, that's our thoughts on Return to Oz, watching it as adults. We'll see you next time with something else. You have anything in particular you want to watch next? I mean, we have The Trouble with Angels, which I don't know if you care enough about to watch right now.
Not right now. I can't sit through another movie.
Right on.
I have restless syndrome.
Okay, well, we'll figure it out. We'll figure out what we want to do next. And we'll see you next time on another episode of Rach and George talking about things.
Yay. Bye.
Bye. Say bye, Willow. See ya.
Huzzah! Bless you.
Yeah, I know, I'm the boy.